What's up guys, Matt back again, and this is the Ichiban Kuji Dragon Ball Z Duel to the Future, and in today's video we're going to be reviewing the entire set. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. This Kuji starts off with a fan favorite character in a form that we sort of seen before. It's Perfect Cell. Now, I say that we have sort of seen this form before in Masterlies because in 2021's Omnibus Super Kuji, we got our first ever Cell figure based on his fight with Goku. This figure technically portrays Cell in his super perfect form after he regenerates to defeat Gohan. Cell is a character who doesn't get a ton of figures compared to someone like Goku or Gohan, so it's nice to see another perfect Cell figure, whether you count this as a new form or not. The figure is of course based on the moment he explains how his single cell surviving was the reason for his regeneration. The figure's likeness is perfection. If you thought the Omnibus Super looked good, well, this one blows that one out of the water. He's got so much personality in his expression with tons of details like line work on his face, and I love how they sculpted in his smile. The sculpt of the figure clearly reuses a majority of the Omnibus Super sculpt, but this time with a brand new head sculpt and arms. I can appreciate being able to see Cell's torso a lot better now and changing things up. The paint and shading on this figure are upgraded too. The previous Perfect Cell had a great application of paint and shading with no blemishes, but this new Cell figure adds a lot more shading to make him more dynamic and to emulate the fact that he's transformed and glowing with a powerful aura. The size and scale of the figure are perfect as he's the same size as the previous Cell. The Omnibus Super Cell was labeled as a Masterlies Extra back in the day, but this one was only labeled a Masterlies. Rest assured, he's the exact same size, and I believe Bandai is just trying to stray away from too many subset names within Masterlies to avoid confusion for casual collectors. I've called this figure perfect many times in this review, and for good reason. He's a huge upgrade from an already perfect figure and a must-have whether you own the previous Cell figure or need one to fill that spot on your shelf. Finally, we received the original and first appearance of one of the most popular characters in all of Dragon Ball, Future Trunks. Trunks used to be a top 5 character in Dragon Ball popularity polls back in the day due to his amazing John Connor inspired design, interesting backstory, and awesome use of Super Saiyan to defeat both Frieza and King Cold without so much as breaking a sweat. The figure is based on that specific appearance from the manga. This isn't our first Masterlies of Trunks, but one of the few that we have of his future iteration. The figure's likeness is perfect. I believe there were a lot of folks worried about how good his face would look in person, as the first shots they revealed were less than stellar. I even had my doubts about how good he would be. Luckily, he came out looking great and very faithful to the manga. The sculpt of the figure is recycling a majority of the Omnibus Ultra Super Saiyan Trunks, with the only differences being his arms, head sculpt, and colors. They certainly improved on the botched likeness of the Omnibus Ultra while giving him a slightly more interesting pose. He isn't reaching for his sword in the manga, but this does make the figure look a bit cooler. The details and texturing on his hair and outfit are great too. The colors, as mentioned earlier, are slightly different to the Omnibus Ultra and, again, are a big improvement on its predecessor. They added a lot more shading, noticeably on his jacket and hair. It does contrast well with the Super Saiyan since it looks like that one is much lighter in its colors to emulate the Super Saiyan aura better. Trunks scales very well and pairs great with other Masterlies figures too. This Trunks is so great that at one point he was my favorite Trunks figure. I definitely got a little ahead of myself back when I said that, but I still think this is one of the best ones that you can own today. Fans everywhere rejoiced when this iconic iteration of Gohan was finally added to the Masterlies lineup. Future Gohan may have only had a short appearance in the series, but many fans loved this design and characterization. Future Gohan was essentially an alternate future version of Gohan where he grew up to be more like Goku and trained Trunks in order to fight the evil androids. His sacrifice was tragic, but at least we got to see his best efforts as he faced off one last time against the androids. This is our first and only Masterlies of Future Gohan. I don't think there's a direct reference for the figure, but if you know, please let me know in the comments. Gohan's likeness is perfect. I love the serious glare they gave the figure, which certainly matches this grittier, more serious version of Gohan. There could be an argument that his eyes are too bolded, but Dragon Ball does that often, and I don't think it's a detractor in any way. The scar on his face was sculpted in as well, so that's a nice touch. Gohan's hair sculpt is highly detailed along with his entire sculpt. Many of us were wondering whether or not this Gohan would have a removable arm, and luckily, Bandai was one step ahead of us and gave us the option to remove his arm. In fact, I don't think I've ever displayed my figure with his arm on, come to think of it. He just looks and feels right with one arm. Now, one of the few issues I have with this figure is his paint. I think the figure has some decent shading, best seen on his gi, hair, and skin, but the colors don't seem very accurate to me. It mostly boils down to his undershirt and boots. In the anime and manga, Gohan's colors are closer to a blue, but this figure went with something closer to a black or at least a deep, dark navy blue. I think this makes him look a little off, and based on some custom paint finishes I've seen, he would have looked a lot better with the proper color palette. The other issue with the figure is his scaling. I think his overall size is fair in a vacuum, but he scales pretty poorly with other Masterlies figures. He's about the same size as Trunks, but looks so small compared to other Gohan figures who are younger or the same age as him. He should have been noticeably bigger in order to scale properly. Overall, I hate to say that this is probably my least favorite figure in this set. He's got a number of issues that keeps me from falling in love with him, but I will still say that he's a solid figure and a great pickup for the price that he's going at. There are many surprising inclusions in this set, but I think this might be the most surprising. Prize D is Vegeta, but not how we're used to seeing him. This time, he's in casual Earthling clothes. Vegeta is constantly seen in armor or something close to his armor in many of his figure releases, but Bandai wanted to take the same energy they had with the Omnibus Z Super Saiyan Goku and give Vegeta a unique and casual look that would pair perfectly with him. The figure is based on the moment Vegeta says goodbye to Trunks at the end of the Cell arc. It's a wonderful reference and is a great deep cut for the fans. Vegeta's likeness is perfect. One thing I appreciate about this figure is how Bandai understands that Vegeta's look and design has changed over the years. If you compare this figure to something like the Strong Chains Vegeta, you can see that this figure resembles Vegeta's design closer to DBZ with his bigger hair, bigger forehead, and different features around his eyes, while the Strong Chains is closer to something like DBS. I love little details like that as it makes me truly feel like I'm going through different eras of Dragon Ball within my own collection. Vegeta's sculpt is really well done with texturing and detail along his clothes and hair. One thing about the figure that I found slightly poor was his shading. He's got shading applied to his pants, but I think that's about it. I would have preferred a matte style paint finish on his hair as well, but they just used the same sculpting material for its coloring rather than any actual paint. It gives it a shiny, plasticky look that I think a majority of collectors aren't the biggest fans of. Vegeta's size and scaling is perfect and pairs very well within a Masterlies collection. I think this Vegeta is a unique and fun figure. I know a lot of fans were hoping for a Badman figure, and I'm sure that's coming in the near future. For now, I'll love and appreciate this wonderful addition to our Masterlies collections. Dragon Ball has many unique and colorful characters in its cast, but none are as powerful and tremendous as the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Satan, the champion of the world. Mr. Satan is such an interesting character as he was introduced as seemingly a gag for Toriyama to play around with, but time and time again, He showed notable development in his character, from helping Android 16 reach Gohan, acknowledging the power of the Z fighters above his own, befriending Majin Buu, and of course helping Goku charge the Spirit Bomb to save the universe. Mr. Satan is one of my all-time favorite characters, easily in my top 10, and filled me with so much joy in his triumphant appearance in Masterlies. This is the one and only Masterlies of the champ himself so far. I'm sure he won't be the last. The figure seems somewhat based on his arrival at the Cell games in the manga. His likeness is incredible. They took so much care to capture his goofy and confident personality in his face, with great details in his eyes, the wrinkles and dimples on his face, and even his stubble and facial hair. The hair sculpt is really impressive, with all of the detailed curls and textures in it. On top of that, his gi has plenty of details in it as well, with the same type of texturing. Bandai even went the extra mile to texture the chest hairs on the figure so that you can actually feel them. The figure has tons of paint and shading applied from top to bottom. You can see a lot of the shading applied on his gi, pants, and skin color, and the colors are perfectly one-to-one with the anime and manga. Mr. Satan is one of the taller Masterlies figures out there, and perfectly scales with the collection. I remember seeing a lot of people thrown off by his height, but I believe they just forgot that Mr. Satan is a taller, bigger character in the series in most depictions, in order to subvert expectations that he's actually weaker than someone like Goku. It's hard to deny how perfect this figure is. He's easily the best figure in this set, and likely one of my favorites of all time. In April of this year, we learned that the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, passed away. I never get choked up over celebrity deaths, but this one was a gut punch to me. Toriyama's work had clearly influenced my life to various degrees. This figure of Goku and Kyo came out eerily close to this news and almost felt as though Toriyama's spirit was saying goodbye to us. The figures are based on the chapter cover art at the end of the Cell games, marking Goku's departure from his friends. It's also seen during the ending theme animation for the Buu saga, We Were Angels. It's iconic and one of my favorite Toriyama illustrations. We've seen many figures of this source before, but I think this one has to be the most detailed. Goku and Kyo's likeness are perfect. They captured the rounder, innocent-looking features of Goku perfectly, and Kyo even has sweat drops sculpted and painted onto his face that match one-to-one with the manga source. The sculpt for both figures are perfect. Goku's wings have tons of details, his hair sculpt is done nicely, and he's got lots of texturing on his gi. Kyo is a little simpler in his approach, but also has some slightly translucent wings with a nice design. Both figures are on a base, which aren't my favorite things in my figures, as they take up more space and gather a lot more dust, but I understand why they had to do it in order to accurately reflect the manga. The paint and shading are on point for these as well. Kyo doesn't have any shading from what I can see, but he has plenty of bright colors that accurately portray him. Meanwhile, Goku's paint style is very similar to the Strong Chain's Goku, going for a more muted orange for his gi. He's got shading on his gi and plenty on those beautiful wings to make him pop. Kyo is technically smaller than he should be in the anime, but the piece is supposed to reflect the size and scale of the manga art, so I believe both of these accurately reflect the size and scale of the source. This is a perfect release that has thankfully gone down in price since it came out. There was even a special Ichiban release on Big Bad Toy Store that I hope some of you took advantage of. I think this is one of the most special releases of the year, and if you don't have them yet, I highly recommend you pick them up. So those are my thoughts on Ichiban Kuji, Dragon Ball Z, Duel to the Future. I think this is a fantastic set I know there's a few recycles in here, but they're done so well and improve upon their predecessors dramatically, in my opinion. And I think this is just one of the best releases this year. But those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's video and you made it this far, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to go even further beyond in supporting the channel, then you can become a YouTube member today, starting at just $3. That'll give you permanent access to our Discord server where we do Dragon Ball watch parties, we play games, we hang out, we do debates on figures. It's a lot of fun. And if you want to take part in our regular monthly giveaway where we're giving away 2 Crane figures to our $10 members, 3 $10 members every month, a Ichiban Kuji figure to our $15 members every month, and an entire Ichiban Kuji set to our $20 members every month that you see here on the screen. And if you guys want to buy any of these figures that are in the set, there are affiliate links in my description below. So if you want to help support me and pick up the figure for yourself, there's no extra charge for accessing it through these affiliate links. So it's just a great help to me. But I think that's all I got for you guys today. So until the next video, I will see you all later.